I had been in the bathroom for a little bit trying to get my face to cool off. You really need get control of yourself. You're horny all time when the burnt bacon bitch is around. The red finally dying down off my face. I let out a sigh of relief when I opened the door. It was getting late at night and I was exhausted from all the things I had done today. Stepping out of the washroom, I was met with the sight of the two boys sitting on the couch watching TV. The look on Dabi's face made it clear that he had no interest in the show. Phil, looking over the top, exited about what was on the screen. Dabi, seeing movement from the corner of his eye, looked at me, a smirk appearing as he saw me. Surprisingly, he said nothing about why I left to freshen up, but I could tell he found it funny. Sitting beside him on the couch, not having anywhere else to sit, Phil was on the side near me and Dabi was in the center. We watched the show for a bit, somehow entertaining me in the slightest. The girl pig, who had a pink shirt, chased her little brother pig. It was just tagged, but to my 21 self, entertained for a good half an hour. I could feel Dabi's eyes on me once in a while, but I assumed he was trying not to laugh at how red my face got. I took my eyes off the screen to see what the boys were doing, if they were bored of the show or not. It's sad little pigs can entertain you so easily, you a child. Dabi had Phil's head in his lap, as the 6-year-old slept. Dabi had a gentle look in his eyes, when you would never think could be in a villain's eyes. I could hear little snores leave his mouth, making me giggle. The sound made tall, dark, and handsome look at me, slight pink on his face. What you giggling at, Dolly? You could hardly talk a few minutes ago. I immediately shut my trap, the same heat from before raising back to my face. Shut up. It was his turn to chuckle at me, my arms crises and looking away from him. Not wanting him to see my red face more, I stood up and picked up the sleeping boy, ready to put him to bed. He was so small and light I was nearly using no strength to lift him. Slowly walking to the guest's room, trying not wake him up from his slumber. Not gonna lie, I hate kids, but that fucking adorable. I placed him on the bed, pulling the covers over his body, keeping him warm. He snuggled up into the bed, smiling at the new comfort. He was the only one left of my family, and I was going to make sure nothing would happen to him. I never asked my promise to Emma, and it was really eating away at me. He was my last lifeline, and I wasn't about to let go. He needed to live for my sake. I leaned down and placed a soft and tender kiss on his head, a smile on my lips before I turned around from him. There stood Dabi in the doorway, leaning on his right side. He had a soft smile on as he looked at me and the sleeping dorm on the bed. Come on, doll, let's hit the hay and beat. He slung an arm around me as he led me to our now shared bedroom. We have been sleeping in the same bed for a while now, so it didn't bother me. The thing bothering me is how I was going to tell him about the posters. Again, through some magical power, the papers stayed safe in my bra. They're probably covered in the sweat, gross. The posters were a little roughed up but still legible, so no matter. He unhooked his arm from around me, closing the door. He was about to drop on the bed, when I had got the courage to voice my mind. Dabi, can I ask you something? Instead of laying on the bed, he went to the end and sat down. Shoot, I'll dodge if I have to. I didn't like the fact he would probably avoid my question, but it was starting to really bother me. The boy that I loved from my past could be the same man I'll love now. I needed to find answers. I took a seat next to him on the bed, a long sigh leaving my lips. I had no idea how I was going to confront him about this, so I stayed silent. I could see his face twist into a concerned look, worried if I was feeling all right. Finding my words, I began to speak, reaching in my shirt for the missing posters. Do you know Tuya Todoroki is? With the posters fully on display for him to see. I could see he visibly tensed when he heard the name and saw the photo. I wasn't looking at him, so afraid to, not hearing him answer me made me look at him. Black hair shaded over his beautiful blue eyes, making them invisible to me. I was about to ask him again just to make sure he heard me right. Where did you find these? If he found out I went through his stuff, I should for sure get an earful. He grabbed them from my hands, looking at them, almost deep in thought. Avoiding his question like he did to me, I asked him again. That wasn't my question, Dabi. Do you know who he is? He looked at me in the eyes for the first time in this conversation, so many emotions swimming in his eyes. It took him a second, but he did in fact answer my question. Yeah, I know him. Now tell me where you got these. It really wasn't fair. I was the only one getting my questions answered. It might get me killed, but I decided to tell him. I found them in your desk drawer, the one at the bar. His hand crushed the papers in his hands. He was mad, I could tell. What the hell, when that thing was locked, how did I cut him off? It was my turn to ask him something, or in what I was about to tell him was our story. Venom helped me pick the lock. But please just listen to me. I think I have a good reason. I begged with pleading eyes, really not wanting him angry with me. He still had his eyebrows together, but let out a sigh and relaxed, closing his arms and looking away. TCH, fine. I had to prepare myself to tell him about what I was thinking and how I would put into words. Well, me and this guy were close, I mean very close. So close that I was his girlfriend. But one day he just left without a trace. I looked at the blue-eyed boy to see what he thought so far, and clenched into fists and eyes still not meeting mine. So what does this have to do with me? I shook my head. He wasn't getting the point. Well, when I was at my internship, I found out that he was presumed dead. You also said at one point your family probably thought you were dead. He was starting to see what I was getting at, his body language becoming more panicked. So it's just a consequence. Come on, doll, you're just Dre. No, I was not going to let him stop me. I knew he was the boy in the missing posters. I had to just be blunt with him and upfront. I didn't. He would never give me a proper answer. Turning to look at him, eyes interlocking, I spoke. Look, Dabi, everything I know points to you being Tia, so just tell me the truth, okay? He abruptly stood up and started to reach for the door, making spring into action to stop him. Running in front of the door, slamming it shut before he could leave, the villain getting madder at me. Let me out, man, I'm done with this conversation. I was not about to let this guy push me around. I needed this and no one was going to stop me. Shaking my head, I used Venom's strength to push him back from the door. No, I need to know. I still need to tell him something. It's killing me, Dabi, so tell me if you're him. He was being stubborn and it was not in my favor. Keeping silent to give him time to talk to me, confusing me when he started chucking. Yeah, and what do you have to tell him? What if I'm not even him, huh? You really are just making wild accusations. This was frustrating me so much. Tears were threatening to spill over. I had no control over myself anymore, letting the tears fall on my cheeks. Blue eyes looking at me, wide and looking at me, crying. I started pouring my heart out to him. You really want to know? I wanted to say thank you for all he did for me, giving me food when I was never deaf, keeping me happy at the worst of times, giving me something I never thought I would be able to do. He stood up from the bed, standing in front of me. He took my face in his hands, forcing me to look up at him. I tried resisting, but to no avail. And what's that? He asked, no teasing in his voice. He truly wanted to know. Red spread on my face, my voice slightly catching in my throat. It was love. He taught me how to love. I loved him. What I said surprised him, from how his eyes filled with unknown emotion. I couldn't tell what was running through his mind, but whatever it was, he was only feeling it. So please tell me, are you my Tuya? The silence settled again, not a word being said. I was about to look hope on ever finding him. Maybe he was right, I could be crazy to think that. I was about to back away from him when he finally answered me, my eyes widening to the size of baseballs. Yes, I'm your Tuya Todoroki. Nice to see you again. Thanks for watching my video. Make sure to like and subscribe to my channel so you won't miss anything I post.